This video examines L.L. Zamenhof's translation of Genesis chapter 1, tracing its journey from the Hebrew original through the 1911 Hachette edition to the 1926 London Bible. As we explore this history, remember that Zamenhof did not simply translate words, he translated relationships. The core question is, what does the Hebrew language do, and what does Esperanto do in return? Translation is not merely mechanical word replacement. Our goal is to map the Hebrew feature, the translational solution, and the resulting Esperanto structure. We must distinguish between two different paths. First, the translational path, which looks at how Hebrew linguistic features are represented in Esperanto. Second, the transmission path, which tracks how the Esperanto text evolved from 1911 to 1926. It is important to understand the context of the 1911 publication. The involvement of Hachette and La Revue represents the publishing environment of the time, not a textual genealogy. Our analysis must respect this distinction. Between 1911 and 1926, the text underwent significant history. Zamenhof worked on it until his death in 1917, after which the British Bible Committee oversaw subsequent revisions. We must not mistake this transmission path for a single linear variant. When a Hebrew feature is translated, the result can be described in four ways: maintained, interpreted, lost, or gained. These are not value judgments, but categories of transformation that help us understand the structural choices made. We utilize two distinct classification systems. One axis tracks our evidentiary level, the text, the translation, and our analysis. The other axis categorizes the type of transformation. Both are necessary to address different methodological questions. Consider the Hebrew verb bara. In the 1911 edition, it is translated as Christ. While the core meaning is maintained, the lexical distribution and morphology are lost. This illustrates that dictionary equivalence does not equal structural identity. Take the Hebrew ruah. It has a broad semantic field: wind, breath, spirit. Zamenhof chose spirito in the context of Genesis chapter 1 verse 2. This is an interpreted transformation, a necessary selection that reduces semantic scope but remains faithful to the context. For the Hebrew na'aseh, Zamenhof chose nikro. Here, the plural morphology is maintained. However, identifying exactly who ni refers to is a separate hermeneutical question that lies beyond simple morphological mapping. Zamenhof used Esperanto to create a cohesive lexical bridge. By linking different Hebrew terms like zakar/neqibah and is/isa through the structure viro/virino, he maintained intertextual consistency across different descriptions of creation. Ultimately, Zamenhof's work shows that translation is the reconstruction of textual relationships. Esperanto's structure itself functions as a sophisticated translation tool, allowing him to synthesize diverse Hebrew structures into a consistent, new target language framework. Looking at the transmission between 1911 and 1926, we see remarkable stability. Out of 31 verses, 29 remain lexically unchanged. The differences are primarily punctuational, confirming that the text was highly stable over this 15-year period. We face an open question regarding the 1915 manuscript, M 1915. If it aligns with the 1926 edition, the change occurred earlier. If it aligns with the 1911 edition, it suggests later editorial revision. It remains a key point for future study. In conclusion, we find a paradox. There is a deep structural transformation between the Hebrew and Esperanto, yet the text remains exceptionally stable during transmission. Zamenhof's art was in translating relationships, not just words. This video serves as a visual summary of our broader study on the translation of Genesis. While this summary covers the core arguments, the full academic research is documented in our comprehensive report, which also outlines our detailed methodology. The study was born from a seminary series on the challenges of translating the Hebrew Bible into Esperanto. Through academic dialogue, we refined our analysis, leading to this current, evidence-based synthesis of text and transformation. Our research is grounded in the textual journey of Genesis chapter 1, from Zamenhof's initial 1911 work with Hachette to the 1926 London Bible. We bridge the gap between initial translation efforts and subsequent historical transmission. For those interested in the full data, including detailed lexical and structural comparisons, the complete academic study is available on academia.edu. You can access the report through the link provided or by scanning the QR code on the screen. We extend our gratitude to all participants of the original seminar, whose critical discussions significantly shaped our understanding. Thank you for joining us in exploring the lasting legacy of Zamenhof's translation work.